tide is going out, and there's a pipe there that you can kind of see that's almost sticking out of the water. When the water drops below that line, my boat gets stuck in the boat lift. So I'm trying to get it down here, get it off the boat lift before the tide gets too low for me to do it. This could really impact my fishing day. So here we go into the Gulf of America. Looks like a nice calm day out there. I took it really slow. The water was really shallow coming through all the canals. Some spots was only about 1.5 feet deep, so I had to have the engine up and kind of just went slow. But I would advise anybody, if they're not familiar with an area, to take the boat out during the extreme low tides. And that way when you go through the channels, you'll see where all the sandbars are, and you'll see where all the oyster beds are. We're out of my spot, and the depth finder is looking really promising. Red grouper, not a big one. Hooked up on one and then I lost it. This one I feel like I got hooked pretty good though. Ooh. And right away we got a keeper, gray snapper. So right away I've got dinner tonight. That makes me happy. I'd say he's probably 13 inches. We'll measure him just to make sure. So I'm trying to let him take it. There we go. There we go. And we have another keeper, gray snapper. This one looks about 12. Not as fat as the other one. When he bit it, he just stood there. Ooh. Yeah, he's got some size for this small rod. I haven't seen these sharks yet, so I'm gonna try to ease him up so I don't pull the hook out. Now he's acting a little different. Oh, fooled me again. Triggerfish always fool me. Ooh. He still has some run left in him. All right, he's heavy. Don't think it's a keeper. Not even sure if they're in season. They're delicious fish. They're really slimy and gross at the same time. Gonna have to look this up if it's fork length or total length, because if it's fork length, then he's got to go back. If it's total length, then he's a keeper. So we're gonna let him swim around the water a little bit here while I look things up. So it is 15 inches fork length. So he's 1 inch too small for that. Gonna set him loose. Got a sizable one here. This one wasn't off the bottom. I had this up on the water column to see if there was spadefish or something else down there. But still pulling like a trigger. And it is. I was wondering if some of the bigger ones were going to be up on the higher in the water column, but I guess not. We got a new species here. We have a grunt. And deciding whether I should keep him for bait or not. You know, chunk him up, put him on the big rod, see what happens. Might move spots anyway. We'll see what happens in the next couple drops here. Okay. This looks like a porgy. Now these are actually pretty decent to eat, but he's just too small. But they're one of my favorite fish to actually catch because I think they're just absolutely beautiful. Tell you this, the water's so clear, it magnifies it. When I was pulling this up, it looked like a monster. And then as it got bigger, it got smaller. I mean, as it got closer, it got smaller. So it's probably 12 inches. And normally I would keep this. But I already have 2 gray snappers. He says he wants to go back to his family. So funny how I caught gray snapper after gray snapper after gray snapper, then triggerfish after triggerfish after triggerfish. Now it's grunt after grunt after grunt. Not bad for mid-January, or the beginning of January. It's about 80 something degrees. The water is so calm. The bite was fantastic. I stopped recording because I was just kept on catching the same fish over and over again. Caught a whole bunch of those white grunts. Added 2 more keeper snapper to the box, so I did limit out on about a 13 to 14 inch gray snapper. And so we'll bring them back to the house, we'll fillet them up, and we'll get my dinner ready. Well, there is the haul of the day. I kept 5 gray snapper, mangrove snapper, and they're all between 13 and 14 inches. And I got plenty of food here for the next couple days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some flour, some egg wash, and then some panko breadcrumbs on top of that. And I'm going to fry them in a pan in olive oil and to a nice golden brown. Just heating up the sauce. I could toast it, but I think I'm just going to cut it in half and eat it because this is probably a 16-inch sub. And what made me think about this is, you know, sometimes I get chicken parm, sometimes I get veal parm, sometimes I get eggplant parm. Haven't really seen too much fish parmesan subs, and I figured I'd want to try it with a higher quality fish. So mangrove snapper are a very good eating fish. So this is my lunch today. So it tastes like any other parm type of sandwich you'd eat, except the fish doesn't really have much of a flavor. You taste a lot more of the pasta sauce, the bread, and the cheese. For the second recipe, we're starting with some sliced red pepper and some onion with some olive oil mixed in, and we're gonna put these, stir fry them a little bit. I'm gonna take 2 of the fillets that we have from yesterday's fish, and we're gonna saute them up as well. Take some fajita seasoning mix. Now, of course, I mean, you've had steak fajitas, you've had shrimp fajitas, you've had chicken fajitas. I personally have never had fish fajitas. Who knows how they're gonna taste? We're gonna find out. Got the flour tortilla, I've got some sour cream, some pico, some Colby Jack cheese, the peppers, the onions, and the mangrove snapper. Fish fajitas. Okay, we are on to fish dish number 3. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fillets left. And I'm gonna have to challenge myself to make something I've never made before. I'm gonna start with dicing this up into small pieces. Put it in a pot. Next, I'm gonna dice up some small potatoes. And we're gonna do about a small chopped onion. Similar amount of chopped parsley. Chopped celery. Now the chopped parsley, about 3 tablespoons full. Gonna put in a 1/4 cup of diced up jalapenos. Add a cup of corn. What is he making? 1/4 cup real bacon bits. What is gonna be to taste, but gonna go some hot sauce. Just a couple dashes of that. Some Worcestershire sauce. A couple dashes of that. Some garlic powder, a couple dashes, some paprika, a couple dashes. Should have opened this first. Some cumin. And then lastly, some black pepper. And then you're gonna salt to taste when it's done. This is 32 ounces of chicken stock. I'm just gonna use half. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat it up, and once I see the very first signs of boiling, that's when I'm going to turn it down to low. We are in the final steps here. So this has been simmering for about 3 hours. So I am adding the flour to the half and half while it's cold. So with that added in, I'm just going to stir it a little bit until it thickens up to the consistency I want. And this is where you're going to start giving it a little taste and then season to your own particular taste, adding salt, pepper. So here we go.
So I gotta be honest with you. This is off the charts good. I mean, you can still get a little hint of that jalapeno. You know, the spices that I put in, again, do it to your own, you know, taste, whatever, but, you know, I put in a little extra hot sauce. I go pretty heavy with the black pepper. But the consistency, I mean, this is, if you went to a restaurant and got like crab corn chowder or clam chowder, this is equally as good as anything you're gonna get in a restaurant. It's just using fish that I just caught pretty much all in my backyard. So, hey, if you guys appreciate this video, give it a like, hit a comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next time. Thanks for watching.